Hi, welcome to Ship Podcast, always motivating and inspiring you to be the best that you can be. Today it's a special episode. I have a special guest, and I always don't bring on guests on my show, but I met a beautiful friend of mine here, and she has a beautiful story. She did medicine in China and lived abroad for over 10 years, and that's something. And as a black person, we share stories that the world may never understand, and I'm always intrigued in producing these stories uh, to the world to be such an inspiration and to be helping others in any way. So I'm excited to have Clara, and I want to let her introduce herself. Yes,
My name
Clara.
is Clara,
Yeah.
Clarisse, and I'm from Burundi.
Okay.
I was born in Burundi,
Mm.
and I had an opportunity to do medicine in China.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, introducing myself can be long,
Mm.
so I'm just saying the. I mean, I guess introducing myself can be long, so
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what to
ask you
do.
a few questions,
Exactly, yeah.
and that's good. And that's good. So tell me, you tell me about your upbringing in Burundi.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a long story. So I was born during the war time, and when I was born, I think the time I was born, my father was killed,
Mm.
and my mother had gone through a lot that time,
Mm.
and then so I grew up in an orphanage
Mm.
with many other kids,
Mm.
and um, growing up was really like hard, but it was beautiful with other kids that have the same story. So I mean, I'm just saying it in a summary,
Yeah, of
but
course.
I'm not really going through like the story inside, like telling you all the details.
Yep.
But there is a part of the war in my country, there's a part of losing parents, and there is a part of growing up with other kids.
Mm.
So, yeah, these three parts.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow, interesting. So that's such an introduction. So tell us about the life in an orphanage, in Burundi.
Okay. The life in an orphanage, yeah, in Burundi, would say, where I grew up, it was really. I mean, I would say we didn't. We had everything. We grew up with other kids too, many kids, like 100 of kids. But then we had everything. I mean, there was no time I could have food or even water or even good. We went to a very nice school in my country, but growing up in an orphanage, we were raised by people who were not like our real parents. So they were there
Yeah.
it was a job for them. Some of them had it as a job, but some of them they had the heart of raising kids. And I had both. I had someone who really I consider like my mother right now until this time. And there is some others that they just were in my life, but I could see that they're just doing the job of raising a bunch of orphans. So it was different. Growing up in an orphanage, you had to fight. As a young kid, you had to fight to be seen, because there are like a million of kids that are there, and why are you special? So sometimes you had to fight to have the best place in the classroom. Sometimes you had to fight to be able to do many things. So I don't know how to say it, but it was beautiful, but it was really a struggle. And but it was beautiful though. Like we had some people that were there for us. But I remember some days it was hard because some days we were beaten. Some days you were crying and you were punished because you were crying. And some days you have to there's no water, so you have to wake up and go and fetch your water, your own, for you to take a shower or for you to drink water.
So how far was the fetching of the water?
Oh,
Like,
I
how far would
remember.
you
I
walk?
remember that was really far.
Like, how many minutes? How many hours?
How many hours? Like 5 hours.
How old were you?
I was 7, or I was 7, 8, and sometimes we didn't have water, and we would go very far to fetch the water, and for you to even be able to take a shower or to wash your clothes, and you're 7 and you had to do it by yourself. Like there's nobody who was gonna do it for you, and sometimes you had to fetch for others to shower as well, because sometimes if you're 7 and there is someone who is 6, you're considered like you're like an elder for her or for him, so you're the one to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Wow, and I know it's not everything you could have told us about the orphanage, but I like the part that regardless how hard it felt, you still call it was beautiful, and I relate to that. I see that even when it felt hard, you still saw the beauty in it. You still saw the beauty, because of course, I may never understand that life,
Right.
and I'm trying to understand it. You know, when I talk to you, I realize and the world needed to hear this side of the story, because a lot of times we're so entitled, we don't know, you know, we don't know. Growing up with tapped water, growing up with water tanks at home, yeah, you see people going for water, but it's fun for us if I can at least go away from home. That's how you see it, even
Right.
if you're allowed to do that. So when you see somebody at that age doing that, I think it's humbling. And then from all that, from the orphanage and then from all the war, take us fast forward. How did you end up in China doing medicine? Just walk us through that.
So yeah, growing up in an orphanage, as I said, it was really a fight. Not a fight that you have to fight with other kids,
Yeah.
but it's just a fight to be seen and to know that you have something great, because there are other kids. And you see, when people are like sending money to help kids that don't have parents, they have no idea what they're doing, but they're changing people's lives. And I was one of them, because people that paid the money for me to go to school, they don't know me, and maybe they will never know me. But I'm just saying that it's a powerful thing that you don't know when you're doing something good. You are doing something to see people like me. You know, people like me at this point. I was able to go to school in China because of people, many people that goes and put money in the box. You just go in the bank and you put some money in the box, and that money, 20, 10, and that money is collected for orphans, and you have no idea that that money is going to help someone. And it's just too much. When I'm talking, I have no idea where to start or where to stop. But yeah, going to China was, for me, growing up in that area where sometimes we didn't have water, but we grew up in a place where really we didn't, sometimes we didn't have affection, like for like parents' affection, but we had everything. We didn't, there was no time we couldn't eat. Yeah, I'm thankful that all the time we had food. So I was this person who I was a nerd. I didn't have friends, but I used to watch things and I wanted things. I was a dreamer. I'm still a
Yeah.
dreamer.
Yeah.
And I was the kind of person that wants good things. And I used to write at a young age, and I started to write when I was like 12. And I remember that all the time I wanted to go abroad and to do my studies outside, but I don't know who's going to take care of that, who's going to pay for that. So all the time they used to tell us, go back to your studies, study and be great. And I wasn't the smartest. No, I wasn't. I just was a dreamer.
I like that. I like that. I'm sorry to interject.
Yeah,
On this podcast, I talk so much about dreams.
exactly.
A lot, because I know what it means to have a dream.
Yeah.
And know that there are things we live in life, and we look as if we are privileged or we are exceptional, but actually we just had dreams.
Yeah.
And I still believe that dreaming is free. Anybody can dream. But it's the first step, the moment we start the dreaming, and after the dreaming, it's easier to take action on a dream that you've written down or you want. And that's when I go back to know thyself. What do you want? And of course, as we grow up, our likes change, our wants change, dreams change, but at least have something on paper. Be like, okay, it's a goal. I may not achieve it, but at least I'm working towards this. And you take small steps and taking small steps. So you're talking about being persistent and, doing whatever you can. I understand you, I feel you, and that's, I'm happy that you ended up in China. And now tell us about the life in China. You go there, how was school in China? And how many years did you spend in China?
Oh, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how I was able to go there, because
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
many students
Yeah.
that didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So there's a state exam that we do in our country, and that exam is really hard. Like sometimes it's hard, and I was able to really become first, like in the whole classroom,
You
and
beat them.
yeah, but
Own it.
okay,
Right.
I did.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So you beat them. Okay, that's good. That's fine. You
And
did.
it was really like, I mean, I would say that I was lucky that time because I wasn't the smartest.
I didn't say it was easy.
Okay.
All I said is you beat them, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that part wasn't interesting because I didn't know that I beat everyone. I just had done the test and I was interested. I told you that I was interested in studying abroad, but I had no father, no mother, no cousin, no person to pay for my school fees.
Wow.
I was an orphan among hundreds in Burundi. So that time, I remember in Burundi there was someone who was doing the advertising about schools in China. And that guy was from Uganda, by the way. He was doing that business back home.
You guys are smart. You guys are smart. Sorry, I know.
He was doing that business back home.
Was it legit?
I don't know. I don't know if it was legit because I guess what, I didn't really work with him because I was given the opportunity of a scholarship.
Okay.
So I went to see him and I was like, you're doing this advertisement about China, so I want to know how can I get a scholarship? So he told me, you have to pay me 500,000 in my money in Burundi.
dollars?
How much is that? It's like let's say $120.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just have to pay that to him and he will help you find a scholarship. And I think I remember meeting him because I think he even told me that everyone who went to China know something called a JW202. It's a paper that you get from the government in China that you're allowed to go to study in China.
Another paper.
So he told me that I got this one, and I was really happy. But he told me I had to pay, like, I think a lot of money at that time. And then I'm like, how am I gonna pay? So I went to the organization that like brought me, like paid my school fees in
Yep.
high school. I
Yep.
went to them
Yep.
and I told them my dream to go and study in China. And they told me, that's not gonna happen, Clara. Like, who's gonna pay for you? Like, there are like hundreds of kids that wants to go to study abroad. You are not the smartest, remember?
Yeah.
And how are you gonna study there? Like, who will pay? So write a letter and tell us that this time the organization is going to stop paying for you. We are going to give you some money, and you're going to do everything you want in China, but we are not going to take care of you. So I thought that I cannot make it in China if someone is not paying for me. So I gave up. And I said, okay, fine, thanks. I will be studying in Burundi. It's all right. But then one day, I'm somewhere and I'm just there. I had a call.
I know those calls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a call. Clara, this is someone that I'm thankful for life. This is like a father to me. The person that really went and asked for my scholarship.
Yeah.
And told them that I am able, because I am the first in the state exam and I'm smart.
Yeah.
That person I owe him for life, I guess. And he said that time he told me, like, we agreed for you to go, and we are going to pay for you in any school you want in China.
Wow.
Any school, find a school in China.
Wow.
And that time I am really much interested in writing. That time I was interested in doing medicine, but I didn't know. It was like a dream for me. He said, we are going to pay for your medical school, like in China and anywhere you want. So just find a school. By that time, I was living in a house with no chairs, with no bed. That's really... When I remember that part, I become so emotional. Guys, people know there are parts in Burundi where you live and, that you don't want to know, you don't want to go back to it. Like, I don't want to go back to it. Like, that part, I remember, I'm really thankful for my friend who gave me a place to stay, but we didn't have. She had her own house. That's a small house with no chairs. We had I remember we had a small bed down on the floor, and we didn't have money. We didn't have any, like, there was no water. Every time I go to fetch water, and that's a place called Buterere in my country. That's a very, very, very poor place in my country, and I was living there, and I was just there, and I just had some money for food. She was hosting me to live there, and we didn't have any chair. We just had a small bed, and I was living there, just there. And every time I go out, I had that dream. And I see kids that are playing there. Like, that place was very, like, the houses behind, they were not, like, we didn't have even a bathroom inside. The bathroom was very far outside. So we go there, and every time you are taking a shower, you feel like someone will see you from outside. But then that's life. And then when I had that call, my life changed. Because now I am looking at going to China and going to any school I want over there. I couldn't even have a bed or a chair. And I went to my school in China, and that was the biggest school with a lake, a beautiful school in China, and very like was really expensive, and studying with kids with parents and beautiful homes, and I don't know that. And I was a French. I mean, I'm a French speaker, so I did not know any English. Like,
Wow.
I mean, I did know how are you? I'm good. My name is blah blah blah, but I couldn't speak this like I was speaking in French. So I had to learn many things, and that's how I ended up in China, and I started studying medicine, and yeah.
We're gonna pause a bit and come back.
Sure.